Hi, and welcome back. Today I want to talk about tools of power. As I've stated before in my other videos, knowing oneself is the source of your power. The moment that you know yourself well, you know your triggers, and you can neutralize them. I'm not saying be hopeful and thinkful and think good thoughts, but actually neutralize them. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. The tool that I love, I've grown to love, journaling. Yes. Okay. So, I got into journaling by force. My high school teacher was like, maybe you want to write down those complaints. So this is my theater teacher, and performing is also about observing life. And so she had a very specific thing and actually called it an observational book. So I've got this journal in a very particular, I've journaled in a very particular kind of way. So how you can use a journal, you can do the same thing. You can use it in a particular way, and I will tell you in this video the different ways that I have used journals over time. So let's talk about the actual kind of book. You can get a spiral notebook. You can dedicate something. Ooh. Okay, that was a whole bunch of my journals falling. These are the only two I was able to grab. So one of my favorite places or favorite books is Paper Blanks. I've had these paper blanks in different sizes. I prefer the lined ones. I've had this for a while, so it's peeling there. And yeah, right. This one is from 2008. Interesting. Okay. All right. Oh, I happen to open a page about looking into some dust up with a sibling. It never ends. And I'll get back to that in a moment. I've also have bulk purchased old calendars from Paper Source. I picked up like I think 5 of these, and I use them. So there's a little taco. Oh, I'm supposed to be looking here. So I've bulk purchased while on sale journals that may not sell through, and I've even gone for, let me put this down, a big monster book. I'm not going to do this one again. I like a smaller book. This was a lot. And I like to have a little bit of fun in it. I practice some of my calligraphy in it. I think this is showing up backwards. Okay. So now that I talked about the kinds of books, material just to inspire your journaling, let's talk about the content. Okay, so you saw me live. Oh well, you saw me in this moment picking up a journal that had something in it with a sibling. What I tend to do to get access to my power is, in life, I look at what triggers me. So, for an example, when or if you have someone who annoys you, someone at work, someone, maybe a character on TV, whatever it is, but you're like, you are agitated, annoyed, dislike, maybe even say you hate. That is a perfect entry point to unpacking that. In your journal, you could start with maybe the first entries is like, venting. I hate that person because that explicative whatever. Now, when I have those kind of things going on, I typically type those out so that it's in a digital format, and then it's garbage. I don't typically like to capture that in my journals because I like to read back. But you sort out what works for you. So, going and looking at that trigger, you first vent about it like your journal is 100% agreeing with you, okay? Then you want to look at, well, why? You want to get to like what exactly is a trigger, or if there's more than one trigger point. I don't like her fashion. I don't like the way she speaks. I don't like the way he looks, whatever, right? It is about that person or that character. And like I said, these things can come up in a, like a reoccurring TV show of a character that's being played. Wherever it is, see, sometimes what happens is we get comfortable like it's the truth. I don't like that. And boom, period, end of statement. Why? Why is that? When someone new or newish is in your life that you don't know and you automatically do not like them, you want to take the case that there is something that's underlying that gives rise to that. It's not someone comes on a scene and you just don't mess with them. Now, there are cases where where you can sense people's BS. You can sense that they're not, up to your highest good. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about you just don't, something is triggering. Now, it could also be something that a family member's doing, a loved one, a romantic partner that you live with. They turn off a light. I'll give you one key example that it took me some time to unpack was if my significant, at the time of my significant other turned off the light, this was like years ago, turned off a light, I would get so triggered because I grew up in a household. I grew up in a house where my parents had to pay for electricity. I know that there's some other domicile arrangements where they're, buildings, everyone pays a portion of the bill. But when you live in a condo or you live in a situation where you have to pay utilities, you're like, turn those lights off, okay? This is not a cooperative energy bill. So that was always a trigger point because now that I'm in my own home, I don't want someone to tell me to turn lights off. I don't want someone to say something that reminds me of something that I got away from, right? Because sometimes we feel like, growing up and moving on, you are getting away from the tyranny that it felt like to have your parents or parent or guardian or whoever that raised you tell you what to do. And so once you unpack that and get to the source of it, like the root, then you can take the next action. All right. More about this another time. I want to leave it at that. Journal, specifically to recap, get a journal. I recommend finding some trigger point, someone that you don't like, something you don't like, or something that you're reacting to in the environment which you share with other people. That could be a trigger point. And look to see if you can get to the source of it that started in the very early years of your life. Okay. Thank you for watching, and until then, mwah, bye now.